When Trevor Mason arrived at the storage auction that cold October morning, he expected nothing more than another ordinary day of searching through abandoned belongings. For 6 years, he had made a living buying forgotten storage units and reselling whatever value remained inside. Most units contained little more than worn furniture, broken appliances, and boxes of personal memories left behind by people who had disappeared from the area. But one unit immediately stood out. Hidden behind a rusted metal door was a collection of large wooden crates that seemed strangely untouched by time. The previous owner, a man named Richard Voss, had stopped making payments months earlier and had vanished without explanation. Other bidders ignored the unit, seeing little potential profit. Trevor saw opportunity. After winning the auction for a modest price, he believed he had gotten lucky. What he didn't know was that his purchase would soon drag him into one of the most disturbing criminal investigations the town of Millfield had ever seen. The next day, Trevor began sorting through the contents of the unit. At first, everything appeared completely normal. Boxes filled with household items sat stacked against the walls. Old clothing, books, kitchen supplies, and lamps occupied most of the space. But hidden beneath several heavy moving blankets near the back wall was a large wooden crate reinforced with steel brackets and secured with multiple locks. Unlike everything else in the unit, this crate appeared intentionally protected. Curious, Trevor cut through the locks and lifted the lid. Inside he discovered stacks of sealed folders, several hard drives, and a locked metal box. As he examined the contents, a growing sense of unease settled over him. The lockbox contained multiple identification cards, credit cards issued under different names, and a newspaper clipping featuring a missing woman named Natalie Pierce. Her disappearance had remained unsolved for nearly 3 years. Seeing her photograph staring back at him from the article sent a chill through his body. Suddenly, the abandoned storage unit felt far less ordinary. It felt as though someone had carefully hidden secrets that were never meant to be found. Unsure of what he had uncovered, Trevor contacted the authorities. Within hours, Detective Lena Ortiz and Detective Marcus Bell arrived at the facility to examine the evidence. The atmosphere changed immediately when they saw Natalie's identification and the collection of documents hidden inside the crate. What had started as a routine storage auction quickly transformed into an active criminal investigation. Forensic teams flooded the facility, photographing every item and collecting evidence piece by piece. Trevor watched as investigators carefully examined the records, their expressions becoming increasingly serious. Then came the revelation that changed everything. Richard Voss, the man who had rented the storage unit, had once been questioned in connection with Natalie Pierce's disappearance. Although no charges had ever been filed, his name had remained buried inside old case files for years. As police vehicles left with box after box of evidence, Trevor realized he had stumbled into something far larger than a forgotten storage locker. The past had been waiting in darkness, and now it had been uncovered. As investigators analyzed the recovered documents, disturbing connections began to emerge. Hidden within the folders were financial records, handwritten journals, and information linked to multiple shell companies. The deeper authorities looked, the stranger the evidence became. The journals reference meetings, locations, and transactions spread across several states. One location appeared repeatedly, a remote warehouse outside Millfield. Armed with search warrants, investigators entered the property and discovered something unexpected. Behind hidden walls were surveillance photographs, counterfeit identification equipment, and records documenting years of illegal activity. The warehouse appeared to have served as a secret operations center for an organized criminal network. News of the discovery quickly spread throughout town. Reporters arrived. Residents began asking questions. Then Trevor received a warning. One evening, after leaving a grocery store, he found a note tucked beneath his windshield wiper. It contained only 5 chilling words: "Stop digging or disappear too." For the first time since opening the crate, Trevor felt genuine fear. Whoever had hidden those documents might still be out there. The investigation intensified as authorities searched every corner of the warehouse. Hidden beneath stacks of decaying pallets, officers discovered a concealed trapdoor leading underground. What waited below seemed frozen in time. The room contained rows of filing cabinets packed with records dating back nearly a decade. Dust covered every surface. Personal files filled entire drawers. Investigators found photographs, surveillance records, and detailed information on numerous individuals connected to the growing case. Among the files was an extensive collection of documents relating to Natalie Pierce. There were photographs tracking her movements, records of meetings she had attended, and notes documenting her activities in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. Even more disturbing, investigators found similar files connected to other people who had mysteriously vanished or left town under unusual circumstances. The evidence painted a terrifying picture. Someone had been watching these people. Someone had been documenting their lives. And someone had worked very hard to ensure certain individuals were never seen again. As detectives pursued new leads, attention shifted toward finding Richard Voss. Authorities initially believed he was hiding somewhere beyond their reach. But the evidence suggested a far more complicated story. Decoded communications recovered from the underground room revealed growing tension among members of the criminal organization. Messages referenced internal disputes, concerns about exposure, and fears that someone within the group had become a liability. Richard's name appeared frequently. Witness interviews uncovered additional details. Former associates described him as increasingly nervous in the months before his disappearance. Some believed he had begun collecting evidence against the organization. Others suspected he knew too much. Then came a startling possibility. What if Richard Voss wasn't the mastermind investigators had always assumed? What if he had become a target himself? As authorities pieced together the timeline, they began to suspect that both Richard and Natalie had vanished for the same reason. They had learned something dangerous, and someone had decided they could not be allowed to speak.